guys, it's Reagan, and today I'm here to do the final video in my fall reading video trilogy, and that is the top 5 books I want to read this fall. As you guys know, I love making seasonal TBR, so something about it being able to pick books that not only match my mood, but kind of matches the atmosphere that's surrounding me, and fall being pretty much my favorite season. Fall is always my favorite TBR to make, maybe winter. They're closed. But anyway, without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive right into the video. First book I am going to talk about is a novel that I picked up a while ago and just feels not only perfect for the season, but has also been a book I've been meaning to read for so long, and that is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This is a murder mystery set in a very prestigious boarding school, set at an academy that is the most prestigious academy in all of Vermont. Shortly after the school opened in 1936, the founder's wife and daughter were kidnapped. The only clue to this crime was a mocking riddle that outlined various ways that they might be murdered. They were never found and the case was never solved. Many years later, our main character Stevie, a student at this school, takes it upon herself to try to solve this mystery as new clues begin to pop up. Again, this just sounds like a dark, mysterious, fast-paced novel. I love a boarding school setting, and now that I live on the East Coast, something about a novel set in Vermont appeals to me even more. And again, Halloween, fall is here, it just feels like the absolutely perfect read. Speaking of a murder mystery, a novel I recently picked up, it's famous and one of the most popular murder mystery books of our time. That is The Devil in the White City, Murder, Magic, and the Madness, the Fair That Changed America by Erik Larson. This is a very, very famous novel. It was a National Book Award finalist. I've had a lot of coworkers and friends recommend this book to me for years. So I believe this is a work of nonfiction and fiction. Erik Larson brings the true story of two men during this time period. This is set during the World's Fair, and one of the perspectives is the architect and the individual who kind of brings the World Fair to life, and another man, a serial killer who used the World Fair as a setting to lure his victims to ultimately murder them. This is a very famous novel. Apparently it's really good, really intense, full of mystery, darkness, magic, everything you can imagine. And it just seems really good and a novel that I should read. So I bought this month and I'm hoping to read it this season. Next on my list is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I have officially finished Oathbringer. I have read all the novels in the Stormlight Archive and my heart is so sad because of it. But luckily there are still quite a few Brandon Sanderson novels I have not gotten to yet, and Warbreaker is one of them. This is a standalone novel, but it does take place in the Cosmere universe, which many of his adult fantasy books do exist in. And I believe a few characters pop up from this novel in Warbreaker, and I'm really interested to see who those characters are and kind of reread scenes from Oathbringer with the context of Warbreaker. This is a story of two sisters, and one of them has to marry a fallen god. I also know the magic system is called breath and it has a lot to do with color. I love Brandon Sanderson's writing. It's absolutely incredible. His plots, his characters, his stories just leave me on the edge of my seat from page 1. This is gonna be my new commute book. I've already started it since I finished Oathbringer, and I'm just so excited to finally get to the story. This is a book I've owned for a very long time, so it feels time. It feels time to finally get to it. Next up is a reread for me, and that is Vicious by Victoria Schwab, or V.E. Schwab. This is a novel that I absolutely love and one that I haven't read in a long time, and with the sequel coming out, if not already out, it feels very apt that I give this novel a reread. This is a story that follows Victor and Eli, who are college roommates, and they're both working on their thesis to basically try to explain how people gain supernatural powers after they experience near death. The story quickly spirals into how these two characters became arch nemesis, and you basically slowly uncover that throughout the novel. This is an incredibly dark story about two very twisted individuals focused on seeking revenge on each other. It's also a fascinating story, as I feel like Victoria Schwab does a really great job at diving into the brains of two just undescribably sociopathic characters, and I just love this book so much. It's absolutely captivating and so interesting, and I'm excited for the sequel. but I feel like I need to reread the first one first, as it's been like 4 years since I've read this. And the very last book I hope to get to this fall is The Girl in the Tower by Katherine Arden. This is the sequel to The Bear and the Nightingale, a novel I read back in May and really loved. This is a fantasy story set in Russia and follows a young girl as in the first one she begins to slowly discover and uncover her magical powers. In the sequel, I believe the world really opens up and she meets other individuals who have magical powers and she travels across the country. I loved the first one. It had a true fairy tale style of writing. It's totally captivating and beautiful. I say often, but I feel like Katherine Arden can write cold in a way that you feel in your very bones. It is just amazing, to be honest. These stories just have so much heart and so much beauty that with the colder air starting to happen, I feel like it's a perfect novel to pick up. I also just don't want to let too much time exist between me reading the first and the second book, so this is definitely a priority for me this season. Alrighty guys, those are the top 5 books I want to read this fall. Let me know down below some books you really hope to get to this month, as I would love to know, and I will see you guys soon with another video soon. Goodbye!